Have you downloaded it yet? I've got it. I've got it on my phone. It's so cool. It's so amazing. It's like the easiest thing to use. So easy to be sending people money back and forth. I love it. I'm going to be using it now in future for sending friends money. I've actually got one to sign up, which was cool because I had to send him some money. So that was a super cool experience. And Cash App is the first traditional peer-to-peer payments app to support Bitcoin. Another cool thing. Another thing I love about them. It comes with all the features of a traditional bank account. You've got the ability to direct deposit your paycheck into the app. You get a physical, customizable debit card which is linked to spend from, and you also have the ability to earn 10% interest back at places like Whole Foods with a cash boost. And that can be used in tandem with your Bitcoin balance. There isn't an app like it on the market. Come on, go and download it, give it a go. The experience of buying and selling Bitcoin is so easy. It literally requires only 2 clicks and you always receive your Bitcoin instantly. And they are committed to supporting the Bitcoin ecosystem. Go check out Jack on Twitter. Go and see set up his Castle node. I think it's so cool to follow that as well, by the way. It's available on the Apple and Google Play stores. You can find it by searching for Cash App, which is CASHAPP. Just a note though, the Bitcoin buying and selling is only available in the US right now. We talked about at the start, we're 10 years in, and you've been blown away by how resilient it is and the attacks it survived. But it's still very early days. Like if you sat me in a room with like 10 of my friends, I'm the one who knows about Bitcoin, and maybe one other will have bought some at some point, and the rest just kind of don't know about it.
None of my friends know about Bitcoin.
And actually, I find it really difficult to understand.
Sorry, they kind of slow.
And sometimes I find it difficult to really articulate what it is. So,
like I said, I was telling you,
like in your eyes,
I told my friends it's going to be a time when y'all going to wonder how you get it. All the resources is in your face.
I had I used to build things online.
And I told them, I said, y'all want to be coming to me, yo.
You more so than me, but how do we bring everyone on board? Because it isn't easy.
We don't. I mean, that's the other thing, which is one of the things I've learned from long experience in technology, and also kind of, I see myself as a technology educator, but I often get called a technology evangelist. And I think that's the wrong way to look at it, because evangelism is about promoting something that is based on faith and opinion rather than facts. and persuading others to see a truth that they haven't discovered on their own. And I think that's the wrong way to go about the technology, especially a technology as important and critical to society as money. The truth is that many people don't need Bitcoin, especially in the affluent Western societies that we tend to spend most of our time, right? And so why persuade them? It's a technological curiosity for most of the people in the places we live. Now, you go to places where that's not the case, and I try to visit and spend most of my time in developing nations, in nations that are facing economic crises, in places where this stuff is really necessary. There's no persuasion needed. It's unnecessary to persuade anyone. They already understand. Here you have to overcome all of these cultural assumptions that exist, which are based on more than 2-3 centuries of business as usual in terms of who runs money, how money works, what money is, how government works, expectations, institutions that are, quite honestly, fairly robust, have survived for a fairly long time, and not perfect, not scaling particularly well, but at the same time, not completely failed. So why replace it? People are not comfortable with change. So the average American who has a Visa card and a bank account and an investment portfolio or something like that, it's difficult to persuade them that system is broken, because for them,
it's like everybody bullshit Harvey playing this shit.
If only the other 90% of the planet could have that level of privilege, but that's not the case. So the question is, why do the people in the other 90% of the world, the other 90% of the population, need this? And you don't need to tell them. You need to ask them, right? And listen and learn from that. And I find these enormously invigorating, these experiences where I go to places most recently Argentina, where I spent a couple months this winter, again, for the fourth time, is sit down, shut up, and listen, and ask, and learn. How are you using it? Where are you using it? Why are you using it? What can you tell me about it? And sometimes I learn things that surprise me. Often I learn things that surprise me. And that's not the job of an evangelist. That is the job of someone who teaches in order to learn and learns in order to teach. And that involves really looking at people have different needs and they will use this technology for different reasons, often not the ones you intended it for, right? And that's fine.
It's not peer-to-peer electronic cash.
Yeah, maybe peer-to-peer electronic cash happens later. In some places it's happening now, but it requires a different set of friction points in order to happen, right? Bitcoin is most definitely not peer-to-peer electronic cash in North America and Western Europe. Why? Because it's not necessary. Because we already have very wide availability of fairly robust, stable currencies that are almost entirely digital and can be transmitted just as easily at equivalent or lower cost, with better interfaces and better security models. Centralized, yes, with a massive cost in our democracy and the capture of our institutions, yes, but those are side effects that are not easily noticed. The average experience of the person swiping a card to get a cup of coffee is perfectly fine, and they don't see any reason to change it. And trying to persuade them doesn't help Bitcoin adoption, right? It just makes us look like Ponzi scheme, pyramid scheme weirdos who are trying to recruit more bag holders, right? And it's unnecessary. In fact, I try to actively discourage that.
So what are you finding in cases like Argentina? What are the things that you're hearing about that surprise you?
Well, my experience has been that cryptocurrency is best experienced and explained. Doesn't matter how it works, doesn't matter why it works. For the people who need it, all that matters is that it does work and that it solves a specific friction point they have. And once they experience that it solves that problem, at that point, they'll start asking questions. I've experienced that with contractors who I've paid in crypto, and in their country, they've compared that to the experience they've had with PayPal or bank wire transfers, and that is persuasive enough. Generally, the trick I've used, not the trick, the method I've used to help demonstrate that is, listen, I'm not going to try and pay you your salary or your services in crypto, because among other things, as a British person going to a developing nation and trying to pay people in what they perceive as colored beads has a very, very long history of being unacceptable and generates enormous skepticism. If I, as a British person, go to an Indian and say, hey, would you like me to pay in this magic internet money? They're like, oh, yeah, we remembered. But what I can do often, and I do often, is I can structure a bonus. So money that is found, not earned, like extra money that you didn't expect. I'm like, hey, I'm going to give you and in my case, I did it with a subcontractor. I've done it several times. I did it most recently with one of my subcontractors who does audio, video, and it was Diwali, which is the Festival of the Lights, kind of Christmassy time. And I was like, I'm going to give you a bonus. Approximately 1 month's worth of pay for the work that you did previously. I can give you this bonus in crypto. And here's a set of instructions on how to go on local Bitcoins and find someone who you can meet in a public place and go and exchange this into rupees. And if they do, and they find that because Bitcoin is selling at a premium of between 25 and 40% in India, depending on the location and the service, the effective transfer fee compared to PayPal goes from approximately 5% to approximately minus 30%. meaning they got $200, they sold it for $240, and the transfer earned them money. Now, that experience is self-demonstrating, meaning that once they do it once, inevitably and invariably, they come back to me a month later and they say, well, could I do half PayPal, half crypto? There's a bit of skepticism still. It worked once, but surely this is a scam or a scheme or some weird thing. It's probably going to fail next time. They risk a bit more and a bit more and a bit more. And within about 6 months, all of their pay is in crypto, and they're cursing PayPal and watching my videos. You know, so that's how I do that kind of education, because I think it's something where the facts matter and they speak for themselves. And you know, there may be cases where people say it's not worth the risk for me to do this, and that's okay. I will accept and pay in any currency that works for my partners, and I'm not going to be ideological about this. You know, I take a very pragmatic view. What currencies do I accept? Anything that I can convert to the store value of my choice or the investments of my choice. That includes fiat, it includes Doge, it includes a whole handful of cryptocurrencies that are easy and liquids that I can exchange with little risk. And I will pay people whatever the fuck they want, depending on what needs they have, and can exchange liquidly themselves. I'm not going to take doctrinal positions on that.
Even Ripple coin.
No one's asked me for it or asked to give me it, and if I could find a way to exchange it liquidly without too many privacy and security risks, I don't see why not.
Okay, we'll pass on that one. I think what it is, Andres, I think you need a aha moment, and I think most people who bought and sold and traded Bitcoin, they haven't even had one, right? Like, I've only had my first one recently, where it genuinely made a difference to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first aha moment actually kind of got me into it, where I had to buy like a treatment from my mother that was illegal, but I kind of forgot about that. And then I held Bitcoin, and then I lost Bitcoin, and I traded it, and blah, blah, all this stuff happened, and then...
Yeah, you've been through the roller coaster.
Yeah, I've been through the roller coaster of having lows and then losing pretty much all of it, but I then had another aha moment recently where it was much easier to be paid in Bitcoin, and now I've had that. I kind of, any of the people I deal with internationally, I want to pay them in Bitcoin, and I want them to pay me in Bitcoin. And now, I kind of guard my Bitcoin a little bit more safely, because I've had that aha moment, and it kind of...
Yes.
But I think most people, like, most people on Twitter probably haven't even had an aha moment, they've just traded.
Yes, that's absolutely true. And that's the difference. That's the fundamental difference between treating this as a speculative investment and using it as part of your income, earning Bitcoin rather than buying Bitcoin. And that applies to all crypto. You start treating it fundamentally different when you earn it and use it in your day-to-day. Then you start having aha moments. Otherwise, you just have a roller coaster ride that is mostly dopamine and fear-driven and it does not give you insights into the purpose or importance of this technology. It simply becomes a gambling thing, and that's why I discourage people from approaching it from that. And you know, people say, well, what should I do to get into Bitcoin? And my advice is not sign up for an exchange, give them all of your ID, buy some, hold it, and see what happens. That is not good advice. My advice is always, what do you do for a living? What do you do for a hobby? Can you do that plus crypto for those who want to? Cut hair for Bitcoin. Drive a car for Bitcoin.
Record music for people for Bitcoin. You know, that's me.
And then use it to collaborate with other people across the world. Even simple things like tipping with it is a more meaningful experience than simply the investment speculation.
I haven't had my aha moment with Ethereum yet.
Yeah, good. I haven't either. I've had a couple of moments that came close. I mean, I've learned a lot more by writing the book. I don't think Ethereum is yet at the point where many of the really important applications have matured. But really, you've got to recognize that one of the things that Ethereum did is it created an environment for yet another burst of crowdfunding in the form of ICOs. From one perspective, probably the majority perspective for the majority of these issuances, it was scamtastic all across the board. And disappointing in terms of it attracted a lot of the sharks that infect the entire ecosystem with their greed. But it also introduced a wedge into the fairly stagnant VC market, especially internationally, where VC isn't as developed as it is in, say, California. And it showed us a glimpse of what could happen in terms of governance and crowdfunding for applications in the future, especially applications that people don't want to run, where there are interests against running them or interest to shut them down. What I believe is one of the key elements of Ethereum, which is unstoppable flow, it hasn't yet matured to the point where there's really any strong applications. The other one that's really interesting to me is games. And I think a bit with CryptoKitties, a bit with a couple of the other games. I mean, at the moment, they're very silly, they're very basic, they're very mature. But, again, just like FTP in the early internet, giving you a glimpse of what happens when you open beta to the world, if you have a bit of vision or experience with technology, you can already see the seeds in that. Gaming might be the breakout application for Ethereum specifically.
Gotcha.
It's well suited to that kind of application.
Oh shit.
And that's an enormous application. That's TV, radio,
one man army.
Twitter,
What? That's called
and movies combined are smaller than the video game industry. And so, it's not a silly thing to have the possibility of building cross-game economies at scale with the ability to establish ownership over assets, in-game assets like the tokens, which is the technology and the terminology used in Ethereum. I find that exciting. I haven't had the aha moment yet, but I can see a glimmer of it.
But I keep company with Maximus at times. I'm not there myself. Sometimes I think I might be. Sometimes I think I'm just a sympathizer. But whenever I talk to them, they're like, if you support Ethereum, you don't understand money. So, what is it that Maximus don't get about Ethereum?
If you can't see the value or the possibilities in Ethereum, I would say you don't understand software. And that's okay. Not everybody has to understand software. Not everybody has to understand money. And those two are not 100% overlapping in a Venn diagram. Right? There are different domains. And those two different domains have different motivations and different reward schemes and different sweet points, if you like, or friction points. The bottom line here is that I find maximalism to be a very, very slippery topic. And part of the reason is that, there is no definition. I mean, maximalism was coined as a term primarily in a derogatory fashion by Vitalik, because he was mocking that perspective. Whenever I try to pin down maximalism, the goalposts keep moving, and there's a lot of no true Scotsman fallacy being bandied around. But here's what I see from the maximalist. Well, that's not a true maximalist. No, I'm the true maximalist. They're just pretend maximalists. I have the real doctrine. And so it's a very slippery concept, and I don't think it's a useful label, right? It's not a useful label for people who identify with it, and it's even less of a useful label for those who criticize maximalism, because it's too broad and too poorly defined. So are we talking about monetary maximalism? Are we talking about platform maximalism? Are we talking about maximalism as in, there will be only one? Highlander maximalism, I'll call it. There can be only one. Or is it Pareto maximalism? it's going to be a nice power law distribution where 60 to 80% of the market capitalization of these spaces will be expressed by one dominant system, and then a long tail of thousands of competitors. These are very different forms of maximalism. Some are very absolutist, some are very mild. Like if you want to claim that in the narrow area of monetary applications, not platform applications, but monetary applications, things that only have economic value or predominantly have economic value, that there will be a power law distribution where the majority of value will be captured by a system that expresses sound monetary policies. I'm a maximalist. There you go. I'm a monetary Pareto maximalist. But that is meaningless, right? Because that has nothing to do with the claims being made against, say, Ethereum or other systems, where it's not about monetary maximalism, and it's certainly not about Pareto maximalism. So, again, not a useful term. I don't really care. I get to choose what I want to use. And to me, the fact that other things exist in the ecosystem do not bother me. I like to take a live and let live, use and let use attitude to this, which is it doesn't detract from my value or my appreciation or my future if you decide to use something
Who else
different.
is with you?
And I don't feel the need to criticize that choice or to
That's too much. I ain't gonna do that.
If you have a different opinion or a different perspective, good. Enjoy.
Your
Do
team
your
is
thing.
close by. I know it.
I don't see the value in maximalism as this strident persuade everyone movement that which at least in my experience on my Twitter feed is extremely intolerant.
Maybe I'll knock a helicopter off
any opinion that deviates, and it's very doctrinal.
Saw one.
I find that limiting.
I think that's fair. And certainly, I listened to your interview with Stefan, and that kind of, I sat in the gym listening to it, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I kind of get it, I see, there is no harm in other projects, and, there's no harm in Ethereum. But then I'm like, well, it's still a traded asset, and, people could lose money, and I know they can lose on Bitcoin. And there's kind of big grand plans, and I'm not a technical person, Andreas, but unstoppable software sounds like a great dream, but
of course they could lose money. Absolutely they could lose money. You see, the thing is, my interest and work in relation to Ethereum has nothing to do with the tradable asset. The tradable asset, in fact, is counterproductive in the use of Ethereum. One of the things that Ethereum maximalists don't get, to switch this a tiny bit, is that if your tradable utility token becomes valuable in a monetary sense, it destroys the utility aspect, meaning that you can't use it to run an efficient network where fees arbitrage between different uses of software that's running on the network, because it becomes too expensive to fucking run and the friction is too high. So the other aspect of this is a successful Ether platform that creates a successful Ether investment destroys the software platform. And that's what people don't get.
But then how do you have an incentive? What's the incentive to run the system?
You need an incentive, but that incentive is a unit of account for computation. It is not a store of value. And that is a very different function. A unit of account for computation is absolutely needed to prevent denial of service and an attrition of the network. And you need that as an incentive mechanism. But if that ever becomes even slightly a store of value, it destroys the other.
Would Ethereum be better, the incentive to pay the Bitcoin?
Perhaps, but no, for a very specific reason. By the way, when Vitalik shared the white paper, it was about 3 weeks before he published it, and he sent it to me and I read it, and I immediately wanted to get on a call with him, and I Skyped him. First question I asked him was, why is not Bitcoin the unit here? Why are you doing this on another blockchain? And I'm so satisfied with the answer I got, which is, here's the issue. The fundamental issue here is that you need a set of consensus rules to validate the software itself. So the smart contracts have to be within the domain of validation of the consensus. One of the problems you see with things like Counterparty, Omni, and other layers on Bitcoin is that the tokens or smart contracts that are operating within that environment are not subject to the underlying consensus rules, right? This is a fundamental problem because it puts them outside of the security model, and you can have various effects where essentially there's how do I put this? There's boundary violations between the layers, right? So you can do things above the consensus layer in the software that affect what's happening below and vice versa. So that argument says that in order for a platform for smart contracts to be effective, the smart contracts have to be subject to the consensus rules. Well, if the smart contracts are subject to the consensus rules, and the unit of account for computation is subject to the consensus rules, in fact, that is the critical component, that unit of account has to also be within the same consensus rules. You can't have that unit of account be in a different system under different consensus rules. They have to be in the same domain so that the security model is internally consistent, so that you can't have boundary violations between them. An attack on one should not succeed without an attack on the other. So that explanation, and Vitalik explained it much better than I did just now, that has still been satisfying to me since 2014, and it forms my understanding of why platform blockchains work differently than monetary blockchains, and why they still need an incentive system, but it has to be of a different nature. But again, it doesn't freaking matter. If people invest in this and treat it as an investment in the platform and lose money, that's on them. And in fact, it's a useful teaching experience for them. And it's a lesson from the broader blockchain ecosystem. Here's the thing. I'll be brutally honest with you. I think maximalism is a fear response. I think it's no coincidence that maximalism, and I'm not talking just about Bitcoin maximalism, because I see the same in Ethereum maximalism and you know, EOS maximalism and Tron maximalism and Ripple maximalism. Oh my, absolutely Ripple maximalism. In every one of these domains, one of the things that I've noticed is it emerged most strongly after the precipitous decline in 2018. And when the pie shrinks and you start feeling that this might be a zero-sum game and the market is not necessarily aligned with your idea of which one should win, suddenly there's a lot of kind of turning inwards, circling the wagons and trying to defend the turf that exists. And now, because it's seen as a zero-sum game, someone being interested or investing in the other thing automatically means that that happens at the expense of your thing. So everybody gets much more defensive.
Airdrop has been delivered.
I'm maximally confident about Bitcoin and minimally maximalist. And the reason I'm maximally confident is because I believe it doesn't need to be defended from competition. I don't think it needs to be clarified to other people that their choices are wrong and yours is right. I don't think that we need to keep emphasizing that this is the only path forward, because, first of all, because it's not, and secondly, because even if it was, that's the way. If it is, it will show it on itself. And I'm confident that the market will operate to make to discover the truth of which system is best for which application. And because of that confidence, I don't feel the need to, you know, fence around that position, circle the wagons and defend it. I think I'm more confident about Bitcoin than some of the maximalists out there, or self-proclaimed maximalists. I think a lot of that, and I'm not judging here, right? Fear is something that everybody experiences. It's something that is very difficult to reconcile. It also creates, and this is key, fear has been proven scientifically to magnify cognitive biases. When people are acting under the influence of adrenaline and stress hormones, it is the worst possible time to do analytical thinking, because the brain automatically shuts down those areas of analysis. Your frontal cortex shuts down. You know, this is something that is useful to know for any human being, because the worst time to try to evaluate why you're terrified, upset, depressed, whatever, is when you're terrified, confirmation bias, selection bias, survivor bias, black and white thinking are magnified by the influence of adrenaline and stress hormones on the brain, which means that the very thing we're trying to use to work out why we're in this situation has been compromised by the hormones flowing through. Maximalism is a natural thing. I think it's a reaction of fear because when people are scared, they've made an investment, they've committed a big chunk of their lives, and I can totally empathize with that. I feel the same at times. That is the worst time to try to evaluate the evidence for and against your position. Your brain can't do that. You're going to fall prey to all of the cognitive bias. So I think it's a fair response, and I think we're going to see maximalism gradually dissipate once things get fun again. Once, the market recovers and people seem to be agreeing with your position, I don't think people will find the need to defend these positions as strongly. And again, I'm trying very hard to not sound patronizing. I'm not judging here. I've been there. We all operate from fear at times. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not a very helpful tool to make decisions.
I mean, I wouldn't say everyone does it from fear. I think for some people it's a rational dislike for other projects. There's a lot of people would say
some people some of the time.
But you don't need to put like unstoppable soccer on a blockchain, or can you even do it? At scale. Like at scale, can this even be done? Because there's an awful lot of information that's stored in software. Right? So I think there's a variety of reasons. I think fear is one. I agree with you there, but I do also think some of it's from a rational point of view, some is from a technical point of view. There will always be different reasons.
But why? What is the motivation in what is essentially an attempt to prove a negative? Because from a rational point of view, you can't put software on a blockchain, or you can't scale a blockchain to do software, or you can't X, Y, Z, is fundamentally proving a negative. And the simple answer in technology is, if you paint yourself into a corner where you use words like can't or never, technology has a way of making you look like a fool within a very short period of time. I look at it from the exact opposite perspective, which is that there is enormous benefit from people trying to do these things that other people say cannot be done. In fact, I think we've seen some of the most important developments in the research of scaling come out of the fact that Ethereum scaled like a dog. It sucks at scaling, and it has to scale in order to fulfill its mission, and as a result, it puts pressure on the researchers, effectively puts evolutionary pressure on the system to go in a certain direction where scaling is very, very important research, and therefore it's getting funded, it's getting attention, it's getting researchers to do it. On the other hand, Bitcoin needs to go in the direction of privacy, and fortunately, especially due to surveillance attacks and things like that, that's getting a lot of it. So can't is not a rational position. It's in fact, it's a non-falsifiable position, right? A rational position is one that is based on what it can do. Right? Saying that it can do something is simply a matter of where you put the goalposts and how you set the time frame.
I guess sometimes there may be sort of as a net negative, or is Ethereum had a net positive or a net negative on the world so far? If you look at everything, the scams and the money loss, I mean, I would probably say it's in the net negative now. Can it become a net positive? Perhaps. Maybe it can be.
No, I disagree entirely. And I think that same criticism from that same perspective could be levied on Bitcoin, and it's a fundamental mistake to see value selectively.
I'm not sure I agree.
The same argument could be made that Bitcoin's a net negative because the vast majority of its use cases lie in illicit, illegal drug seeking and gambling behaviors.
Yeah, but we know that's factually not true.
I don't actually know that that's factually not true. I think
there was a study done. It was like less than 5% of transactions are illicit.
Are you counting speculative investing as gambling in that? Because I am. And I would consider that a net negative.
I wouldn't call investing negative because speculative investing is invested.
I think the fundamental motivations behind the majority of people, especially during a boom bust cycle, has been greed, FOMO, and is not based on any rational understanding of how Bitcoin works. It's simply
but hold on, it's still an investment and it's an investable product. Like all investment is based on at one level on greed. You know, it's a spectrum of greed. It's still a spectrum. It's still an investment.
Yes, I understand. But by the way, I'm not making that argument. I think the outcome is net positive because even in the case of greed and gambling and all of that, you get positive externalities. You get learning about investment. You get learning and exposure to the technology, and it funds research that improves the technology. And I would make the exact same argument for all of the ICO scams. The people who got burned choose to do so because they get penalized by the market, they learn a lesson, and they also fund a ton of activities, some of which train developers who may eventually leave that ICO once it crashes and go work on something more productive because the market will weed out the bullshit. And I trust in that process, and that process of creative destruction, of attempt and failure, and even
somebody took my helicopter.
Motivations
behind
it are net positive in the long run.
But hold on, you can't say in the long run because it hasn't happened yet. We don't know if it'll be net positive in the future.
No, we don't. And that's the problem with saying can't or trying to measure success on a fixed time frame, which is that we don't know if we just keep moving the goalposts. I was having this conversation with Stefan recently, but you know, the idea that okay, so Bitcoin will become the only reserve currency. Ah, right. When?
Just play the circle.
Oh, in 10 years. So the explosion of alts we've seen now is a temporary phenomenon and is going to reverse itself into a singularity. So we go from a Big Bang Cambrian explosion to alts, which then, due to gravitation, monetary gravitation, reverses itself into a singularity, and everything converges back into Bitcoin and everything else goes away. Yes, maybe that requires setting a very specific timetable in which you're going to be wrong for a very long time until you're finally vindicated as being right. To me, that doesn't matter. We can't predict how these things are going to go, and we can't evaluate whether they're net positive or net negative unless we take an arbitrary time frame. And anybody who's a proponent is going to keep moving the goalposts and say, we're going to have success anytime now. And anybody who's negative is going to say, move the goalposts again and say, oh, it's
so low, crushing
into singularity anytime now. None of which is productive, right? None of which is predictive. And so I'm much more interested in seeing how it plays out, and I feel very, very fortunate to have the opportunity to observe this from a position of knowledge and learning and involvement than
turn your guns on your Call of Duty mobile, or even if you're playing the actual game,
in these spaces and watch
put it on single shot, yo.
From up close.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's guaranteed that everybody got their gun on auto fire. So when you on auto fire, your gun is gonna like ricochet and do all types of crazy shit.
I do think it's still.
You got better control with it. You see how I'm carrying it.
It's been a
light edges up. Then another joint is while everybody guns is on auto. You have the advantage to job rush at them, and most players is going to panic shoot. And when they panic shoot, you got them, yo. Trust me, panic. You know when a player is panicking, yo. It's just how they try to escape you and shit.
Now, is that going to be a killer after the work? Is it going to succeed? Is it going to scale? I don't know.
You play with a team, man. Play with what's
all of these questions motivate me to ask more questions and learn. They don't motivate me to go back to
I should get automatic
and focus only on one thing. They actually
Leaderboard for that shit. When I
When
first started playing this joint, I was trying to play with teams.
It's because one, I'm curious.
I kept on getting that
I'm
same
very
shit.
curious.
I ain't get nobody on my team, so I was like, shit, fuck it, that's cool. I don't mind playing by myself against everybody on teams. Pretty goddamn good. Only people you gotta really watch out for is snipers and shit. Get some beast ass players on this joint, but I'll be getting there.
That's the most fun and at the same time, here's the most fun. I am very suspicious of certainty.
Yeah.
I am not certain about
New Year's, new decade.
And I think anybody who claims to be
Rise of the
certain
AI.
needs to consider
It may sound crazy to y'all, but it's real shit.
And if you believe you don't have any blind spots, that's a very big blind spot.
Well, I've already overstepped my mark. I think that's a great point to end. So, firstly, thank you, Andreas, for coming on. I probably could have talked to you for another 12 hours. And I'd love to do it again in the future.
Not on leaderboard.
Absolutely. Let's just pick
Not
up
on
from here
leaderboard.
and do it in a few months or
Not on
whatever,
leaderboard.
just continue the conversation.
Not on leaderboard.
I want to do it in
Not
person.
on
I try and
leaderboard.
do.
I'm that
I think
good.
about half
Come on,
of
man.
it
That
in
sucks,
person.
yo.
We'll find a time. We'll get to a conference together. Just tell people how they can follow you. Give a shout out to your patron.
A Antonop, AANTONOP, on Twitter, on YouTube. People who support me on Patreon allow me to scale and deliver